Hi, everybody. It's CJ Miller. I'm in Shreveport, Louisiana, across the Red River from beautiful Bossier City, Louisiana. And yeah, it's a view of the city. Uh, cool. I like it. Um, I'm just sitting outside catching some nice breeze. Come check us out if you're passing through, if you need a place for a destination or whatever. And we're close to some other things too. We're not that far from Dallas. Uh, not too far from New Orleans. Actually, Dallas is where I'm going this coming weekend. If all things go according to plan, some peeps are taking me over there for my birthday weekend. I haven't been in a while, so that should be fun. Let's see. Uh, Chicken wings tonight for dinner. I'm not really going to do a food video on that, but I got a little bummed out. I was doing some videos. Two of them they got flagged. One was a comparison of videos of Fergie singing the national anthem. You know, when I was a kid, she was Stephanie Ferguson on a show called Kids Incorporated, and Kids Incorporated uh, started out being a network TV. I think maybe on NBC or ABC or something. I don't know, but it got moved to probably ABC because ABC is owned by Disney. I don't know, but after the second season, by the third season, it got moved to the Disney network, and it was like, well, so much for that show. But it was fun. It was the kids. They were pretty decent singers. Some of them, for childhood singers, they were accessible. I've I've heard better child singers. But if you want to go back and retrospectively watch some of those earlier episodes, uh, you can find them on YouTube. And uh, Stephanie Ferguson, who we know as Fergie, she was the longest uh, running cast member on the show. She started when she was like 8, and then she stayed until to the conclusion of the show. I think because she was so young, she was able to do that. But anyway, um, but yeah, I was doing. I was like watching her do the national anthem. I don't know. It came up in my YouTube feed, and I was like, oh well, wow. Let's do a comparison of this because she started out, kind of in a traditional way of doing the national anthem, and then by the time she got around to doing it the third or fourth time at some basketball game, it was all like very it was a very different and bizarre uh, delivery, but it was not good. It was not good. And she's a singer. She could sing and everything, but it just really wasn't good. And so, oh wow, pretty soon we're gonna start getting mosquitoes back out here. I think I'm already starting to get some. I felt something. I don't know. In my mind, it's like, wow, did I feel that or did I imagine it? Yeah. Okay, so but that video that I did, and then I followed it with the very first episode of Kids Incorporated, the segment where Stephanie was singing to uh, Gloria, the character Gloria. She was played by an actress titled or credited as Marty, but her real name was Martika, and she did the song "Toy Soldiers" uh, in the 1980s after her tenure with Kids Incorporated. And that song you'll hear in a lot of video games and everything. It's very classic. So it was like the very first time that someone did a song, a real sincere song about addiction. That's what it was, and it was the video kind of talked about showing her in a toxic relationship with the guy, but the lyrics there was no veil between what the lyrics meant. And so I was like a teenager, and here's this person not that much older than me singing about uh, addiction, you know, and her uh, perception on it, and it was sincere. It wasn't placating, and so that was why I think that song became such a great hit. And it was kind of a one-hit wonder, Martika. toy soldiers. Check it out. But in this video that I posted, it was like Stephanie Ferguson was doing. She was singing the Laura Branigan song, Gloria. She was singing it to someone who was like 16, 17 years old or whatever, and she's like 8 years old. So it's like, you know. Anyway, uh, she was just so adorably cute. She had like no front teeth up front or whatever. They were out and they hadn't come in yet. So, and then of course we get to, where she's like an adult and she's doing the national anthem. Oh, say, can you see? Or some shit like that. It was so weird. So, uh, but maybe it was just that she had done the national anthem so many times that she was looking for um, an alternative way to do it that hadn't been done. Or, maybe she was trying to leave a mark, or maybe she was just so tired of being booked to do the national anthem that she was like, I guarantee you this will be the last time anybody asks me to do the national anthem. And she'll get out there and I don't know. I don't know the story on that. Uh, but it was not good. So I wanted to do a comparison video, but uh, YouTube blocked it, that it couldn't be viewed for copyright. And I was like, well, I guess I need to learn more about the copywriting laws. I did another video that I tried to post, and I tried to compare two movies. I wanted to compare. This is the ultimate, for me, discussion about remakes, because movies typically they're I think they're almost all remakes anyway. They're all we only have so many stories as a human, as a being. We life is a few short decades, and we carry our experiences with us from life cycle to life cycle, passed down hand to hand, word, hand to mouth, uh, mouth to mouth, where, uh, like, so many stories are, they're all pretty much the same. It's just the only thing that's different is the take on them, because there are only so many different plot points, and the only thing that we can do is we can change the packaging in which these emotions come to us in. We can change the combinations of the effects of the basic emotion, but we're human. We're not unlimited uh, in our experience. You know, uh, I know that we like to think we are. We live in a finite world that that is, it's composed of perpetual matter and energy that will never cease to be. But this state of being is definitely finite and definitely will come to a conclusion. And that is the humanity of it. Uh, so all stories are the same regaling, you know, uh, of similar experiences. So, with that being said, the ultimate in remake for me was Clash of the Titans from 2010, which was a remake of 1981's Clash of the Titans. And the Clash of the Titans from 1981, that was one of those things in my life and my family. Every time that program, that movie was on TV, we watched it. It was like the Wizard of Oz for us. You know how like some people every time the Wizard of Oz comes on, it's like, oh my god, it's such a classic, blah blah blah, and it was a great movie, yeah. So every time Clash of the Titans, 1981, uh, came on TV. Of course, now we can like, you know, uh, own movies on home video or just stream it, home streaming. Like that's what we do now. We don't. Very few people actually own uh, material. I've got some DVDs and Blu-rays that I still own, even though I don't own a Blu-ray player anymore. I gave it away. The one I had, I gave it away to a friend. Uh, but anyway, because you could also use it for streaming. It worked as the apps and everything. They had. So anyway, blah blah blah. What am I talking about? Yeah, Clash of the Titans from 1981 as compared to 2010. And 2010, it looked more Roman to me than it did Greek. And everything was very monochromatic. I loved Clash of the Titans from 1981. It was kind of bright. There was contrast. Even though everything really looked like marble stone, just white, chalky stone, but there was contrast that I could tell and I could see, and I did not like the color palette of the 2010 movie, which was just kind of, dulled down. Also, everybody in 2010, they all looked like they needed a bath, you know. And why, pray tell, would gods walk around on Olympus, Mount Olympus? Why would they walk around in armor, shimmery, shining armor? That's, yeah, that's really not how I picture my Greek heroes and my Greek gods. You know, heroes, by the way, are the demigods of Greek mythology. Hero, a lot of cultures call them demigods, and in Greek mythology, they're heroes. So anyway, yeah, just the look of it was different. The acting style was different. I also think the cast was more beautiful in 1981. And I was a little kid, and I was like, damn, Harry Hamlin is a stone cold fucking fox. Fox is what we call people that look good back in the day. He was a fox. I don't. What would you call him today? I don't know. But yeah, Harry Hamlin. And then, of course, he went on to do a milestone movie called Making Love with Kate Jackson and somebody else. Some other dude that I don't care about. And so it was kind of about a husband having an affair with his wife or something, a liaison with a man, and that was very groundbreaking in the very early '80s. You would think so, except for the TV show Soap had already addressed gay characters in a comedy. It was a comedy. It was a farce of a comedy, but the characters themselves were taking themselves serious. So they were. It was farcical, comedic for the viewer to look at it, but for the characters on screen, they were going through tragedies, ups and downs, and that includes Billy Crystal's character of Jody on Soap, which really had not been done. Uh, you know. So, what else? Even like on the Three's Company, where Jack Tripper, the character of Jack Tripper, uh, he was pretending to be gay so he could have a roommate, but they didn't really uh, get into it. And I think uh, to go through like gay history on TV or whatever, in the sitcoms or whatever. Um, uh, let's see, All in the Family. Edith had a, a transgender friend who died, and so that was brutal, something brutal to address in the '70s. But there really wasn't that much of a representation, and especially to have characters like the Harry Hamlin character in this movie, Making Love, actually be in love and having, you know, a romance. That was something that just did not happen, you know, in mainstream American cinema at the time. So, and then of course they feel like maybe it kind of killed his career after that. And I think maybe, but I also think maybe what it is Clash of the Titans was one he's really known for. Nobody remembers really Making Love, that movie Making Love. Nobody really remembers that, but they do remember Clash of the Titans. I just think for a long time it was like he was just, you when you get into a role and you're so perfect in it, then it can mean that it's hard to see you as anything else. Christopher Reeve did Superman, and it was very hard for audiences to see him as anything other than Clark Kent and Superman from the Superman movies. He did some other movies and programs, but they weren't well known and they weren't well, you know what I mean? It was just really hard to look at him and see him as anything other than Superman. And I think that was the problem with Harry Hamlin. It was hard for me. It's still hard for me to see him as anything other than Perseus. And I've seen him in other things, you know. Um, uh, but that is, I guess, as an actor, maybe that's the danger of being a non-character actor. Which if you're an actor, you're a character actor anyway. But when you're playing a character that is so that you fit the profile of that character so well that it's not very transformative because you really don't have to transform to fit the mold of that character. And if it's well received, then you'll get stereotyped, and then people really won't know that as an actor you are, and you can be other parts. You can be other characters. It's really hard to do. I ran into that, and I don't think I was like a great actor, but I did community theater, and I guess I came in and we did like some cutesy little things and blah, blah, blah. But once they found out that I could play a swarmy little villain, that's what they wrote. They wrote me as. They wrote me as the foil, the blah blah blah. The I guess uh, I could. Yeah, didn't have a mustache, but I could pretend to twirl it. I could. Yeah, So I could do the melodramatic villain, but play it realistically, and yeah. So they just didn't write for me too much of anything else, and yeah, well that's cool. Plus, everybody in community theater that I was working with in my groups and everything, they all wanted to be the lead. They all wanted to be the hero. They all wanted this. They all wanted the parts that were going to be like blah blah blah. And let me tell you, if you're an actor, especially if you're doing any sort of stage work, but also in movie work, if you really there's a train passing through the other side of downtown. Hang on, choo choo. Okay, so what happens in that situation is that you know if you really think about it, what is the catalyst for uh, anything and everything in any kind of really awesome story is the challenge, There's not always a villain, but there's always someone who brings a challenge, an opposition, whether that person's a villain or not. And that person that brings the problem, that that is who people will remember in a story above all. Uh, you know, uh, if Christopher Reeve had not been such a wonderful Superman, and he was, and it had to be, but Gene Hackman really would have stole the show as Lex Luthor. Uh, I have to say that Darth Vader, yeah, the villain. People, he really is. He is the star of Star Wars. That character. James Earl Jones, voiced him. That he was played by another actor. I forget his name, but yeah, it doesn't. The whole presentation, the story wise, what people remember, Darth Vader. And he also had the coolest movie, and it's the stylish and the flashiest and just everything. What else? Or I should say, sleek. Um, you know, uh, all the way to the Child's Play and Chucky franchises. It's like that's what people remember the villain. Friday the 13th, about the villain. You know, it's not about the victims. It's not about the people who are facing the challenge. It's not about the heroes. And even in the most heroic story, uh, you need the good challenger. You need the good villain. Rocky 3 was Mr. T. I forget his character's name. I want to say B.A. Baracus or something, but I think that was like the A team. I probably got it all wrong. I was such a little kid when all that was going on. But what else was going on? We had, Rocky 4, the Russian. Was it Dolph Lundgren? Yes. If he dies, he dies. It was like his whole voice was like, it wasn't. Did the dude ever get to use his real voice? because when he did Masters of the Universe, and he was He-Man, they dubbed him there also. It's like, what if he had like a Mike Tyson voice? Which Mike Tyson, I've heard him recently. He doesn't have that little high voice anymore. He doesn't have that anymore. No, no, no. His voice is deepened and thickened up with age. It's like, okay, that's great. So, um, you know, uh, anyway, that's me comparing those movies, and I had a couple of clips that I pulled up, and of course, I was showing just brief clips from the movie for comparison of image to image, and because I did that, that video where I was comparing Clash of the Titans '81 to 2010, and also talking a little bit about Wrath of the Titans, which probably would have done better if they just would have done Wrath of the Titans without Clash of the Titans. If they just would have done that as this individual movie, it would have been awesome. Uh, but because it was part of this remake franchise, it was like, yeah, like I don't know. Anyway, yeah, I did those comparisons, and of course the video got flagged and blocked, and yeah, that's fine. And they were like, "I don't monetize it." I'm like, "I don't monetize anything. I haven't even like put my own property uh, out yet, which I will be putting it out. Actually, that's not true. If you guys want to buy some of my paintings, get in touch with me in the comments. I will figure out how to get you my paintings at a low, low, low price. But also, yeah, my book. I'm taking a tour. September going into October, a boat trip. I say a tour. It's a cruise. I'm taking a cruise, and basically, I want to incorporate any sort of inspiration from that experience uh, that I want to reflect on, and include that in this current collection of poetry and my first book, and then so it'll be shortly after that I'll have it available. And of course, I'm going to self-publish on Amazon. Like I wish I lived in a place where I could just go knocking on publisher doors. Around I don't know, Minneapolis, Minnesota, wherever, New York, wherever publishers publish books or whatever. Because when I was a little kid, what I wanted to write, very specifically, I wanted to write novels that you would pick up. You know, it's like a paperback novel, the kind that the drugstores sell. To quote that song, "If You Could Read My Mind" by Gordon Lightfoot. But yeah, I wanted to write paperback novels. I really did. Um, it's what I loved. It's what I got a hold of. It's what I read. I voraciously consumed those stories, and you could get there was suspense, there was uh, thrill, there were great heroes that faced challenge, and the villains were pretty awesome. One of my favorites was a bestseller called "Out Are the Lights," and apparently you get on this bestseller list, and you may stay there or you may not. But yeah, at some point I just like I could be a bestseller, but I don't know. I don't know. I don't really care anymore about that. What I really have inside of me are these stories, these reflections, these thoughts. One of the things that I do this video, I do want to talk about Shreveport. I do want you to know how wonderful I love my area that I live in and how beautiful, and I want to share it. But another thing is, I just, as a person, you need an artistic outlet, and so a good vlog like on YouTube could be a good outlet for that. Um, Doogie Howser knew it when I don't know if he was like showing his vlog or if that was just his journal on a computer he was keeping, but I don't think I don't know if he was writing that to share with the world or not. But yeah, it was his little narrative or whatever. But yeah, it's a wonderful outlet to have something like this, and I started to do this with Facebook, and then I realized, well, a lot of what I'm doing uh, writing, all that I have to say, it's like, wow, instead of putting a few little things together, everything that I'm composing for Facebook looks like large articles, written articles. And it's like, wow, I should just talk, you know. So I started doing videos, and then I realized everything that I was doing was more visual rather than written down, you know. So YouTube became a more uh, appropriate forum. Now I just have to remember there are rules about copywriting, and I just thought maybe you could use the occasional clips here or there, like in brief, for review. But apparently, you can't do that, you know, all the time. Anyway, I mean, I just like a brief clip. It was like to compare the palette of Clash of the Titans '81 to Clash of the Titans 2010. Night and day, bro. And also the story's different because uh, I was like, as Ralph Fiennes doing his best Lord Voldemort as Hades in Clash of the Titans. It's like, wow. So we have like one great big giant uh, villain in this one. It's not going to work. It's not what happens. Uh, Honestly, uh, you know, uh, it's antipodian to the way the gods were perceived in the first movie. So anyway, uh, video got a lot. What else can we talk about? Basically, killing some time. It's time to eat. I needed to kill some time until it was time to eat. No food video. It's just going to be some pecan encrusted chicken wings, and I made enough of them that I can just kind of like snack on them over the next day or so. And hopefully, I'll have some people come over Tuesday. If that's cool, then I'll have like some food, uh, a reason to do a food video. Because if they come over, I'm going to do a few different options. And that's cool. And then whatever we get together and we eat, great. And then whatever we don't eat, that's cool. It will keep. I love leftovers. And of course, I'm going to be doing over the weekend, if things work out, the weekend of the 5th, which, by the way, it will be my birthday. And yeah, I cannot believe it. Cannot believe it. My birthday. And I'm going to be 23 for the 30th time. Yeah. So, you know, I've either, for 23 for the 30th time, I've either not aged very well or I'm doing all right, you know. Let's see. But yeah, Dallas for around. And it's like, uh, what can we do? I want to do different things. I don't want to just go and do like one thing, you know. It's been a while. What else? What else? What else? What else can I talk about? Oh, I think I already talked about this, but we have, it's not Motley Crue, but there's something, uh, a Motley Crue tribute band is coming to a local public venue. It's not a public venue, it's actually a private venue, but it's owned by this family that has like 3 or 4 clubs, and then behind their clubs, they've opened a stage in Bossier City, and it's a public, great, and it's awesome. And so, yeah, that's kind of cool. A lot of what they do is a lot of country music, country, and I don't go to every single thing they do because it was like, wow, I love country music. I just don't like 5 or 6 hours of it consecutively, you know. But give me rock, you know. You can rock me all night long. You know what I'm saying? Um, let's see. Yeah, I think maybe what I'll do is I'll probably. Nah, I don't want to eat out here. I was like, I'm just gonna eat out here. I, I'm gonna go inside and eat. Maybe watch a little bit of TV, television. When I was a child, this is one of the things. This thing where going all the way back, I'm going to circle back to the first video that I talked about, which was Stephanie Ferguson, Fergie, long time, singing that really slow and warbly and really dreadful version of the Star Spangled Banner. The announcer, he announced her, but he announced her with the most awesome lisp that you could hear. Fergie, and it's like it was so funny because this is the way that like I was a really good friend, and we tease each other and we talk back and forth to each other in a stereotypical lisp, which is so funny because it was like when I was a child, I had a lisp, and by the time I got into kindergarten, we did some speech therapy, and they got me trained away from my lisp, right? Which is great, wonderful, great. Uh, and then a few years ago, I had some dental work done to kind of chip in my my foremost tooth in my mouth. It was chipped, right? So, and it had been since fifth grade. It's just I don't know. I could not. All the dentists that I went to as an adult, especially to really just advocate on what I wanted done, I just couldn't find anyone to uh, put a crown on this thing or whatever. And I guess I got a hold of someone who did. Dr. Whitty in Shreveport, great dentist. You should look him up and go to him if you're here and you need dental work. Best there is. I hope so many people don't go to him and he's like, oh wow, we don't need you anymore. But as long as he'll have me as a dental patient, I will be his to be had because he fixed my tooth and he did it in such a wonderful, you know, like it was sheer artistry. See. Anyway, um, oh my god, I need to get back, put some whitening strips on my teeth, bring them back up. Ding. Okay, but yeah, um, but yeah. So that was something that's like we tease each other, but it was like so funny watching the so and so and so, six-time Grammy winner or eight-time Grammy winner. Okay, it's an eight-time Grammy winner that he gave this announcement to, and then she comes out with "Earl, sir, you say," or whatever. It was awful, awful. But it must be a challenge to do the same performance uh, of the national anthem when you get asked to do it frequently and close, and you become kind of like a go-to, and like everybody wants you doing it, to give a different performance each time. I don't know. But back when I had my Facebook account, and I really miss this, my friend Daryl Woolen, he was one of the mentors that was teaching me how to play guitar. And of course, he died uh, during the pandemic. Not of COVID, but he had like a respiratory. He had an emergency, but the hospital that he went to was so bogged down because there were so many people and so few staff that that he died while waiting to receive treatment and everything. There was just so much that there's only so much I could do. But he was not a healthy man anyway. He was, um, but yeah, poor little guy. And he was such a worker too, like very, a constant workaholic and everything. But anyway, he taught me uh, a good bit of what I know about guitar, and I'd be like, well, what can I do? How can I get better with the guitar? And he would say, play the motherfucker, like. But yeah, just yeah, and so yeah. But anyway, we had a gathering, and it was the July 4th, and he did the whole like play the metal version, the Jimi Hendrix Star Spangled Banner, and I actually sang along to it. And I tell you that when you're singing a Star Spangled Banner in front of a group of people, uh, it's different than singing it at home by yourself in the shower or something like that, or singing it along with the person on TV who's closing out the programming for the evening or something. It's different, you know. It's a first off, uh, if you're tense and you can't relax, then you just can't sing properly. You need to be relaxed enough to let the emotion come through like a conduit, no matter what you're singing. And the national anthem is like that. You know, actually, it started out being like a bar song. You know, just a you know, it was written to the tune of a bar song. It sounded like a bar song, and then it became like a national anthem. But I could almost hear it being like some sort of Irish pub. You know, oh say can you see by the dawn? You know, just you know whatever. And then of course we have what are some other things? I haven't done those songs on YouTube, and I don't know that I have. I know that I did this for Facebook. But what I'll do is, by the time the Fourth of July rolls around, I'll have a few songs put together that are patriotic, and I'll do a video uh, to commemorate the Fourth of July. I am uh, as um, as imperfect as the country is, and it's because we are imperfect humans living in an imperfect world, and it's hard to make everything work for every single person, but we keep trying. As flawed as we are of a nation, I still, in spite of that, um, appreciate uh, that there are a lot of places that I could have been born and raised, other countries and nations or whatever, that would not have been. I would not have been okay. I wouldn't have been as okay as I am now. You know, uh, as flawed as we are on a sociological uh, spectrum, we're still among the best, and I appreciate that, and I'm very patriotic for that. It is okay, by the way, to call someone or a group of people or a nation. It is okay to call them to task and say, "Hey, you are fucking up." It is okay to do that and still have a remarkable appreciation for everything that they are and everything that they do. And that's the state of uh, the country that we're in right now. I don't really vibe on everything that's going on, but I have tremendous respect and awesome appreciation for being a United States citizen, you know, an American. And even if that means nothing, if I leave the country and I get into it and I'm like, oh, I'm an American, the rest of the country is not going to give a damn. There is a movie. May start getting some storms out here. There's a movie. I was a huge B movie fan in the '80s. You know, straight to video. Yeah, that's what you do. You know, in the 1980s, as you rented videos, and before just the way that you did in the '70s and '80s, early '80s, you'd go to drive-in movies. Well, then after the drive-in uh, and the and the cheap cinema, here comes our storm. Uh, what you do is you would go to the video store and you rent the videos. And one of those things was a movie called, and actually this was the drive-in fodder before it was released on video. It was called um, Red Heat, 1985, uh, and the feature was Linda Blair, and she was the male lead was William Ostrander or whatever. From forget that I can't. I'm butchering that name, that last name, but he was the bad guy in sort of the bully in Christine, the movie Christine. You know, uh, the one that harangued the lead. Oh my God! Let me stop bird walking and get back on topic here. But so Linda Blair goes to visit her boyfriend who's in the military, fiance, and they get into a row in the restaurant because he signed up again. And she was like, "Well, I thought you were kind of coming home and we were going to get married." And he's like, "No, I want to make this a career or something, whatever it is." And blah blah blah. And then there's a woman looking on this argument, and they ended up, the woman's like a a, a spy or something, and she gets kidnapped and taken over the East German, you know, prison, whatever. And Linda Blair, her character Christine Carlson, gets caught up in that, and she gets snatched up for being a witness to the abduction, and she's taken away. And so as they're bringing her into this prison, and they're like, she's fighting back, and they're smacking her over the back with sticks, and she's like, "You can't do this. I'm an American. God damn it!" And the rest of the world does not care if you're an American or not. You do not have, you don't go by American rules when you visit another country. Just like when you go to someone else's house, the rules of your house do not apply. The rules of the other person, the people who own the house, the residents that you go to visit, it's their rules that you go by. You know, kind of like when in Rome, do what Rome does. Remember that song, "The Promise" by When in Rome. Uh, okay, so I have talked a lot. It's time for me to go eat. I love you. I really do. I do. I wish you love and light. Bon appetit. God bless. Good night.